JBNN will keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones, and in the news, driver injured in Golden Spring gun attack. A man who was raided for murder charge recently was shot and injured by gunmen along the Golden Spring Main Road in St. Andrew Sunday morning. The man, a businessman from St. Andrew, has since been admitted to hospital in stable condition. It was reported that around 10:30 a.m., the now injured man was driving his vehicle along the roadway when a car heading in the opposite direction stopped and had its four-way flashers on. Police said the businessman stopped and two men armed with handguns alighted from the motor car and opened fire on the vehicle, hitting him in the right hand and right foot. The men then returned to their motor car and fled into the area. The injured man was escorted to hospital where he was admitted. Musician shot in Portland. A musician was shot and injured by a gunman at a bar in Buff Bay, Portland on Saturday. The artist has since been admitted to hospital, while police have launched a search for the alleged shooter. Information received is that around 12:55 p.m., the artist was inside the bar when a man, who is reportedly known to him, approached armed with a handgun and stood in front of the establishment. Police reported that the man fired 3 shots inside the bar and then walked into the facility and fired one more shot, which got the artist in the shoulder. The man then left the area on foot. Residents assisted the musician to hospital, where he was admitted. It is understood that the artist was visited by police at the hospital, but had indicated he did not wish to give a statement or engage in any court proceedings in relation to the matter. Despite this, police initiated an investigation which led them to the residence of the alleged shooter, but he was not seen. Teen dies after allegedly being stabbed by her father during dispute. Detectives assigned to the Elliston Road Police are searching for a father who is believed to have killed his daughter during a dispute at their home on Barry Street in Kingston. The deceased is 17-year-old Shelly Calvert. The police report that about 1:10 a.m., a dispute developed between the father and the daughter when a knife was used to stab Calvert in the chest. The police report that about 1:10 a.m., a dispute developed between the father and the daughter when a knife was used to inflict a wound to Calvert's chest. She was taken to hospital where she died while receiving treatment. Meanwhile, the police said the constabulary force is committed to reducing incidents of domestic violence and investigating all reported cases. The public is being reminded that the force has 10 domestic violence intervention centers throughout the island. The police are also encouraging persons to report all suspected cases of domestic violence even if they are not the victim. Bike men open gunfire on motorists in 2 parishes. Police are probing 2 separate incidents in which men on motorcycles opened fire on motor vehicles Friday night. Police said the first incident occurred about 7:15 p.m. in Shrewsbury District in Whitehorn, Westmoreland. It was reported that 2 people were driving in a motor car when, upon reaching a section of the roadway, a motorcycle with 2 men aboard drove up and the pillion opened gunfire at them. They managed to drive away without being injured and subsequently made a report to the police. Lawmen processed the scene and found 7 spent casings. A little over an hour later, the second incident occurred about 8:40 p.m. on Car Crescent near Barney Street in Montego Bay, St. James. In the incident, police said 3 people were traveling in a motor vehicle when a motorcycle rode up and the pillion opened gunfire at them and then made good his escape. None of the people in the vehicle were injured. Portland man killed in 3-vehicle crash identified. The Corporate Communications Unit CCU has confirmed the identity of the passenger who was killed during a 3-vehicle collision in Portland on Saturday morning. The crash involved a trailer, a pickup, and a minibus. The deceased has been identified as 26-year-old Paul Johnson of Skibo District in Buff Bay, Portland. One other person was treated at hospital and released, while another was being treated, the CCU reported. The fatal accident was caught on CCTV. According to the police, 3 vehicles were traveling easterly on the Spring Gardens Main Road towards Port Antonio when the trailer collided with the rear of the pickup before crashing into the minibus. The impact of the collisions resulted in the 3 vehicles careening off the roadway. 3 people sustained injuries in the accident and were taken to hospital, where Johnson later died. St. Mary man on gun charge. 27-year-old Alwyn Kennedy of Dean Penn, Highgate, St. Mary, has been arrested and charged following an incident in his community. Kennedy was charged with possession of a prohibited weapon and possession of unauthorized ammunition. Reports from the Port Murray police are that about 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, March 25, lawmen carried out an operation at Kennedy's home when he was seen inside the bedroom reaching for an item in the ceiling. A search was conducted and a Smith & Wesson .38 revolver, along with 1.3 rounds of ammunition was found. Kennedy was arrested and charged following a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. His court date has not been finalized. GraceKennedy threatens to pull champ sponsorship over indiscipline by athletes. GraceKennedy, the major sponsor of the annual ISA Boys and Girls Athletics Championships, has warned that he could pull his sponsorship of the event if the indiscipline by some athletes that marred this year's event continues. The warning was issued on Saturday's final day of the 5-day championships by the company's chief executive officer, CEO Don Webby, inside the National Stadium. He was speaking during a television interview. Webby, who is also a government senator, took issue with two events in particular, one having to do with a male athlete raising his hand in a gun salute as he ran past another athlete, and the second, where Kingston College's Nicardo Clark attacked Colabar's Kamani Gordon at the end of the boys' class 200 meters final after Gordon impeded him during the race. Clark, who was expected to medal, placed fifth as a result. However, his attack on Gordon, which forced officials to separate them, resulted in ISA banning him for the rest of the championships, but he was reinstated after an appeal was made. Webby expresses disappointment at the behavior of the athletes involved. "We are not going to be associated with champs if indiscipline continues, and there were two incidents that I'm very, very concerned about," he said. He explained that the incident involving the gun salute was brought to his attention on social media, and he also admitted that he had not yet seen the fracas between Clark and Gordon. Webby said as a result, it may be premature for him to comment on that incident, but what I would say to you is that Don Webby feels personally strong about it, and GraceKennedy as well. "We're not putting up with any indiscipline. I prefer not to be associated with champs than having discipline," he declared. The CEO shared that he has given the matter some thought and also revealed that he had spoken to the president of ISA, Keith Wellington, about the incidents. He also stressed that matters related to indiscipline are the purview of ISA and not the sponsors. "I don't know what their policy is in terms of discipline, but what I will say is that it's a bigger issue than champs. It is a social issue that we're facing in Jamaica. But GraceKennedy as sponsors, we can lead an effort in terms of having discipline here," said Webby. He emphasized that he was very concerned about the two incidents and said he'll be calling a meeting with ISA as soon as the championships end in order to get a better understanding of ISA's policy relating to discipline. "But what I can say to Jamaica is that GraceKennedy prefers to not be associated with champs despite all of this glory if it's associated with indiscipline. I'm willing to invest in any exercise that will enhance discipline at the champs level," he added. Webby said he understands emotions and he also understands that those involved are young. However, he insisted that there has to be boundaries. Described as one of the Caribbean's largest conglomerates, GraceKennedy is by far the biggest sponsor of the 5-day high school championships, which is described as the largest and most competitive of any similar event on the planet. GraceKennedy's sponsorship of $170 million this year was drawn from its food and finance divisions. The company also operates several foundations. Any decision to pull its sponsorship would leave ISA with a gaping hole in its champs budget. More St. Elizabeth communities benefiting from free Wi-Fi. Holland Village and Trial are the most recent communities in St. Elizabeth to benefit from the Universal Service Funds Connect Jamaica program, which provides reliable and accessible internet connectivity free of cost to residents. With the support of Franklin Witter, Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth Southeastern and Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, as well as J.C. Hutchinson, Minister of State in the Ministry of Transport and Mining, who is also the Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth Northwestern, the fund was able to successfully reiterate the government's commitment to ensuring that every Jamaican has access to high-quality internet services, regardless of their location or socio-economic status. During his remarks at the launch ceremony in Trial on March 30, Witter emphasized the importance of the internet connectivity and its role in communication, which he explained was a well-needed service. The Universal Service is doing a great job, as one of the most important things we can have is access to the internet. We now live in an information age where you can do things from your community simply because of the connectivity, said Witter. Meanwhile, at the launch ceremony in Holland Village, Councillor George Powell, who represented Hutchinson, expressed satisfaction with the project's success as he explained to community members the importance of access to education and the internet's ability to help them attain higher education. "While I may be old school and still using one finger to maneuver the internet, but even if you were to sit under a tree, you can get on your phone or device and log on and complete degrees. That's how amazing access to the internet is, and we should not sit idly by. The best part is that the access is free, which means even the children get to enjoy it, as it helps them to do their homework and research, he said. The launch of community Wi-Fi in Troll and Holland Village is a significant step towards providing internet access to residents who previously had limited or no connectivity. The project was made possible through the efforts of the Universal Service Fund, USF, who partnered with local stakeholders to identify the most effective way to bring internet services to underserved areas, reiterating its commitment to bridging the digital divide and providing equal opportunities for all Jamaicans to access the benefits of the internet. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.